Hey there. So we are doing lesson 17 and we are going over it in class, unless, of course, you were absent or something, and then you can still check this over. So number 1 says b minus 345 equals 653. So b is just some number, and I know right away that b is a fairly large number. It's got to be more than 345 because I'm going to take that away. Take away that 345 and get 653. So I'm going to show you a simpler problem to maybe make this make more sense. So what if it was b, sorry, that doesn't look like a b, b minus 2 equals 6. Would you know what b is now? And you could pause the video and tell your neighbor or tell your teacher. What would b be now? Probably most of you said b would be 8 because 8 minus 2 is 6. So if I didn't naturally know that, I could also think that 6 plus 2 equals 8. 6 plus 2 equals 8. Or 6 plus 2 equals b. So there's a hint for you with how you can solve this bigger problem. What am I going to do with that 345 and that 653? This would be another good time to pause and discuss in your class. And I'm sure you said in your class that you were going to take 653 and add it to 345 the same way that that would work to take 6 and add it to 2. We can take the 653 and add it to the 345. 8, 9, 9. So 998. We think b is 998. Of course, I could check that by saying 998 and actually take away that 345. And it does come out to be 653. So we know that 998 is correct. So number 2, Peter found a rectangle that had a perimeter of 20 inches. And here is Peter's rectangle for us to look at. So perimeter means the outside edge. It means if you were to start right here and you were to walk all the way here to here to here to here, all the way around, that is perimeter. Okay, we're not talking about area, the squares inside. We are talking about the outside edge, which is the perimeter. So here's another way to look at it. So perimeter, we went 4 here, 4. We went 6 more. That's 10. And then the opposite sides are the same, right? So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, another 4, and 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We get back to 20. There's another 6 there. So the perimeter is 20. The opposite sides are the same. That's how I knew that 4 went here and 6 went here. But they want us to draw a different rectangle that also has a perimeter of 20 inches, which at first sounds like it might be kind of crazy. My thinking is that halfway around this is 10. And 6 and 4 makes 10, right? So are there any other pairs of numbers that make 10? This would be a good time to pause and chat about that. So I'm sure after your pause, you came up with things like 1 plus 9 equals 10, 2 plus 8 equals 10, 3 plus 7 equals 10, 5 plus 5 equals 10. And then, of course, 4 plus 6 equals 10. Well, each of these could be part of a rectangle, right? I could do 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went too far. No, 10. Because 9 plus 1 is 10. And then I'll do my other 1 and my other 9. 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 1. The perimeter is 20. I can do 2 for this one. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 by 8. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so on. We can draw all these different rectangles. Now, you probably don't have graph paper. The key when you don't have graph paper is to draw a rectangle and label it. Oh, and I should say what these are. These are inches. Inches, inches, inches. I didn't draw them all, but you should draw at least 1, maybe 2 more on your paper. Okay, number 3, 698 times 6 equals t. This is where that area model that we've been practicing comes in handy. Pay attention now to the area model. I'm going to put a 6 on the side. I'm not going to try and draw something that has 398 squares. I'm just going to make a rectangle. I'm going to break it into pieces. And I think I'm going to do 390 and 8. These are easy numbers to multiply. Oh, especially if I get my face out of the way. 390 plus 8, 398. So now I multiply my edges to get what goes in the middle. So 6 times 3 is 18, and it's 100 because there was actually 300. Now would be a good time to stop and pause and ask people in your class, what goes in these next 2 boxes? I'm sure in your class you came up with 6 times 9 is 54, and 1 more 0 is 540, because this is 9 tens, so 54 tens. 6 times 8 is 48. Now I just have to add all this up, and I should write it all down to add it up. All of this should be on your paper. Okay, 8. 4 and 4 is 8. 8 and 5 is 13. And 2. So 2,388. T equals 2,388. Okay, number 4, 34,000 is blank times greater than 340. Times greater than 340. So this is also, we're saying 340 times blank equals 34,000. Because 34,000 is how many times bigger than 340? Well, I have a place value chart here. Here's 340, and I want it to be in the thousands, right? 34,000. And how many times bigger? Well, you may have remembered that when we times by 10, we moved over 1 spot. Times by 10 would move us a place. But if I times by 10, that doesn't get me far enough, right? That would only be 3,400. I need 2 places, right? The 3 jumped 2 places. The 4 jumped 2 places. So how do I make it go 2 places bigger? Well, if 10 moves at once, another 10, here's my second, will move it again. And what is 10 times 10? So 10 times 10 is 100. Let me write this here. So that means 340 times 100 is going to be 34,000. And one of the tips and tricks we showed you was that 34 times 1 is 34. And then I've got 1, 2, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3 zeros to make 34,000. Really, I think a better way to think of it is every time you multiply by 10, you move a place over. And since I needed to move 2 places over to make this 340 be 34,000, 10 times 10 is 100. So it is 100 times bigger. $100 times greater. Okay, last one. We are using less than, greater than, or equal to compare these two. But these aren't really numbers. I guess it's kind of a mix of numbers and words. So 500s is 500. And then 13 tens. 13 tens might be kind of a strange idea to you. So 13 tens basically means 13 times 10. We've got 13 tens, and that's going to move us one place over. So 130. I can call 130 13 tens. Just like 50 is 5 tens, 130 is 13 tens. So this is 130. And if I add these two together, I'd get, if I add these together, I'd get 630. 61 tens. Stop and talk to somebody about what 61 tens is. If 13 tens is 130, what is 61 tens? So I'm sure you came up with 61 tens being 610. And now it's pretty easy to see that 630, 63 tens, is more than 61 tens, or 610. Well, there you have it. We did all of lesson 17. Remember, before we started, you should have just done your best to try all of these and to show your thinking for all of these. And now you should have your work plus my work added onto your paper. You should have done scratch work all over this paper. Okay, thank you for watching.